Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve Warner here, and today I am going to walk you through the process that I've used for the last 5 years to build, hold, fill, and sell at profitable live events. So I'm on a mission to help 100 people this year hold live events, and I figured the best way to do that is to show you guys my process, answer questions, and help you guys however I can. So I'm going to start off today. This training is going to be about 15 minutes. I don't want it to take up too much time. If you have any questions, feel free to post them down below or DM me, reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer them for you. For the last 5 years, I've held my own live events. I've done really well with them. About 6 months ago, I went out on my own and I started helping people hold their own events. I've worked with 5 one-on-one clients, and in the last 6 months, they've done more than $1.2 million in top line revenue. And I'm here today to share with you the secrets that I used with them to help them hold their events. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. I'm going to tell you some of my backstory as we go through this. So the process that I use when I'm looking to help somebody hold an event is called a platform process. So what is that? All right, we're going to walk through it. So the very first thing that you need to do is you need to pick your event. So what does that mean? Well, there's 3 different kinds of events that you can hold, and it depends on where you are at in your business journey, in your entrepreneurial journey. If you're an influencer and you have a huge tribe, then it's going to be the kind of event that you're thinking of. It's going to be a large stage event held at a hotel, 150, 250 people. The thing is that it does not have to be that way though. When I got started, I started off trying to hold live events, and the first one I tried to hold a 1,000-person event. I completely bombed. I had to go back to the drawing board. The next event I held was 150, and then 400, then 600, then 800. But what I figured out in all of that is people actually like smaller events better. And all the feedback that I got, I hand out feedback forms at every event that I did. All the feedback forms pointed towards we want smaller, more intimate events. We want events where we can help people, where we get direct help, right? Where we can talk to the speakers, where we can get our questions answered, where we don't feel like we're just one in this huge crowd. So I started going towards holding smaller events, and I call these events mastermind events. And they're mastermind events where you can put 15 to 25 people in a room. You can hold the event yourself. You don't need a huge staff. You don't need AV. You don't need all the stuff that goes into that. It's a much easier event to hold. And here's the secret. When you hold events like that, you can close a much, much higher percentage rate, somewhere between 50 and 75%, even all the way up to 100%. 2 ladies that I helped in the last 6 months put 14 people in the room, and they closed 13 of them. 13 people on a $18,000 product. So it's 100% worth your time to do it, and it's much, much easier to do. So you have the big event. That's if you have a huge audience. You have the small mastermind event. And that's for anyone who's just getting started. Maybe you have some kind of a tribe. Even if you have a reasonable sized tribe, these events are so incredibly powerful because they sell out super fast. You can fill the room. You don't have to stress about anything, and you can do them more often than you can do the large event because they're so much easier to put on. So we're gonna say that's for mid-size starting. And then the last one is going to be a workshop. So what is a workshop? A lot of people ask these things. So if you're an agency owner and you're watching this, or if you have some kind of high-end deliverable, the workshop then is where you make your money. You can charge anywhere between $5,000 and $20,000 for a few people to come into your workshop. So if you're a funnel builder, this is perfect, right? I've done a few of these where I built somebody a funnel, we did video for them, we gave them headshots, we brought a copywriter in, and we built their whole funnel in a weekend. So if you're already charging maybe $10,000 to $15,000 for a funnel, imagine putting 3 people in a room for the weekend and charging a premium because you're going to work with them one-on-one and get it done right now. You can totally do that. So that is an outcome-driven event. So first thing you have to do is pick what kind of event you want. The next thing you want to do is you want to lock in your offer. So when I say lock in your offer, it's either your offer or if you're doing a workshop, it's your outcome. So what you want to do is you want to figure out where you're taking people. You want to start with the end in mind because that is going to inform everything that you do to put the right people in the room from the very start. So you want to look at what you're going to offer them. I suggest getting a whiteboard and brain dumping everything that you can think of that those people want. Then from there, go to the red ocean. Go look at what else is in your marketplace that people are buying right now. If you look at those things and you start to list them out, you're going to see similarities. Well, then you've got to set yourself apart, right? So how do you become different from everyone else? How are you not a commodity? Well, one thing is you're you. You have your unique personality and your spin on how you're going to present those things. The second thing is that you're building an offer. It's not just you're going to get one thing, you're going to get several things. So an offer, I don't want to get into it too much, usually contains a vehicle, an internal, and an external. Now this is the way that they're getting there, and these are the things that help them get there. And it's usually 6 things. So this could be a course, this could be a year-long coaching program, and then it's going to include the templates, it's going to include the course modules, it's going to include audio, it's going to include coaching calls, it's going to include all that stuff, right? So you want to brain dump all of that out, look at what is in your red ocean, and look at what's selling, put some of that in there, and then put things in there to improve that. That's how you're going to come up with your offer. Now your outcome, if you are an agency or somebody who's delivering some high-end outcome and you're doing a workshop, you need to figure exactly what that is, and basically you're selling a VIP version of that. Next up, this is a fun one. You want to attract your attendees. So what do I mean by attract your attendees? Attract your attendees means you go out and you drop pieces of this. You say, hey, I'm gonna give you X, Y, and Z. You talk about, I don't have a lot of room, but you talk about the story arc that you're taking people on. So the story arc, you have the people over here and they want to go over here, which is Happy Land, right? Well, there is a path to get there, and that story is the drama. It's overcoming the pain points that they have. So you want to talk about the pain points that they are experiencing, right, in their life. Let's say this is weight loss, right? Weight loss is an easy one to speak to. So on the weight loss journey, hey, you know, maybe you're overweight right now. Maybe you don't wake up with a lot of energy and you don't have a lot of free time, and you're trying to figure out how you can just lose the 25 to 30 pounds that you need to lose to get back to feeling yourself, to get back to dating other people, to get back to having all the energy to do all that other stuff. Well, let me tell you, I was there several months ago and I went through XYZ. I felt bad on a Friday night because I just went home, ate some pasta, and went to bed, right? We've all been there. So you want to talk about the pain, and then you want to take them on this journey, but you also want to point out the things that you can do to help them get there. That's how you start to do that. So you can put this stuff out on Facebook, you can put this out on any social media platform. You don't want to run ads directly to your event, right? That's the worst thing I can possibly recommend that you do. Don't do that. So many people call me and they're like, hey, Steve, I've got like 3 weeks and right now I have 5 people registered. What do I do? And I tell them, usually the reason that is the case is because they've been running ads directly to a sales page. Instead, you run it to the story arc. You talk to people about the story and you show them how they can help you. It's kind of like this video right here, right? So you want to start attracting your attendees. So next up, is you want to tell the story. Just like that, right? So you have 2 things here. You have the story arc, which is emotion. But then you have another one, which is the success path. Now the success path is logic. So this means that this is step 1. You do these 3 steps in order, and then when you're done, you go on to step 2. And step 2 has 3 things that you do in order, and then you go on to step 3. Now these 2 parallel each other. Step 1 is usually how you reach the first rung. You overcome those first objections, you overcome those first pain points, and you reach step 2. Now the thing is, emotion is what causes people to buy. And that's where you want to hook people in. That's the stories that you want to tell. But you want to point out that you have a clear, logic-based solution. And you want to talk a little bit about the logic-based solution, but a lot about the stories, right? So you might be saying, well, Steve, what is your story in all this? Well, 5 years ago, I used to work in restaurants. I was a waiter, and then I worked my way up to being a manager, and I knew how to run great events, and people always told me, you ran great, this was a great event. I wish all of our events ran like this. So I thought it was gonna be super easy to go out and run an event. So that's what I did. I quit my job. I moved to Las Vegas because that's the event capital of the world. I moved there and I was like, you know what? I can do this. It's super easy. I've held events for several thousand people. I went down to Treasure Island. I plunked down a huge amount of cash and I rented a room for 1,000 people. 2 months later, I had 2 people registered and no money left. I had to cancel the event. Treasure Island let me out of it. I had to move into a friend's utility closet. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I started learning all about events. I dived in with everything I had. I went to the library a lot. I was reading Dan Kennedy stuff. I took the last credit card that I had. I went back to Treasure Island. They rented me a room for 150 people. It took everything I had and I filled the event. I sold that event out in about 6 weeks. It was a dental event. I didn't know to sell anything at the end of it. See, I didn't know about the offer. I didn't know about these different kind of events. I didn't know anything. I thought you just held an event. So that's what I did. I held an event, but I didn't sell anything. At the end of the day, I made about $8,500 and I thought I was awesome. I went to a Dan Kennedy event, and if you guys know Dan Kennedy, he's a crotchety old guy, and he told me I was an idiot because I didn't sell anything. So then I went back to the drawing board and I came up with my offer. I held another event. That event I held at 400 people, which was crazy to think that I put that many people in the room for my second event, but I did because I was a hustler. I sold them some stuff at the end and I ended up making about $28,000, which still wasn't decent. It was okay, but it wasn't great because I didn't know how to do a high ticket. I didn't believe that I could. So as the years progressed, I got better and better. I kept studying more and more stuff. And I got to the point where I was holding these smaller events. I was charging people up front to come to the events, and then I was selling a high ticket at the end of it. I was really connecting with people. So just like I said earlier, when you connect if you have 15 people in the room, you should connect with each one of those people in an intimate way. Your close rate is going to go through the roof. I've had 3 events where I've closed 100% of the room. So it's possible. This is the story that you tell. I'm going to go back to this. I got a little bit off track. When you tell this story, you are going to tell the story in your ads, you're going to tell the story in your marketing, but you're also going to tell the story at the event. At the event, you are going to take people through this. People always ask me, well, what should I talk about at my event? This right here. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and you have it all planned out. And because you're giving short versions of that, leading up to the event. People know what to expect and they're really excited. They will lean in really far because you're giving them the behind the scenes and all of the secrets. So this part right here, that is the core of everything that you're doing. So next up, we're gonna go to find the venue. So the venues, there are a couple different things that you can do when you need to find your venue. A lot of people think that it has to be a hotel. Well, here's the thing about a hotel. They're gonna charge you a lot of money for the space, then they're gonna charge you money for food and beverage, and then they're probably gonna charge you service, taxes, all these fees on top of it. It gets expensive. So there are ways that you can get the venue for free if you pay for a little bit of the food and beverage, or you can get the food and beverage for free if you pay for the venue. There are scripts that I have that get you up to 50% off of those costs. But there are better places to hold a small intimate event like this. You can rent a house, right? Rent a mansion. You can hold it at a co-working space. So there are awesome co-working spaces all over the US, and they will usually rent you the space very cheaply. This also allows you to bring in catering, and catering is way cheaper than food and beverage from a hotel. So I would definitely look at your co-working space. The other thing is the business center. So if you're a member of your Chamber of Commerce, they probably have a business center that you use for free. I don't know for sure. I know Las Vegas, they charge a small fee. I know in Phoenix it's free. I think Chicago is free. It just depends, but they're usually very low cost and they're nice. So I definitely recommend doing that. Okay, so after that, we have outline the event. So outline the event goes with tell the story. All you want to do is take the success path, right? And you want to lay it over the story arc. When you do that, you're going to be able to lay out your event. Day 1, day 2. You're going to want to figure out when your pitch is. Now, there's a certain time that you should make your pitch, and most people get this wrong. There's a certain way to make your pitch so that you are not super salesy, right? If you do this process correctly, people will just lean over and fall into what you're doing. Like, you do not have to work them very hard, and you shouldn't. Right? If you are ethically selling somebody, you should not have to push them and push them and push them. Instead, you should give them enough that they just come to you. And there's a way to do this. There's a special way that I write speeches, and it's something that I do with my clients. I walk them through everything so that their presentation gets people leaning into them instead of them pushing onto other people. And that's the next piece. The next piece is you remove the sales pitch altogether, right? You don't want to have a hardcore sales pitch. Instead, you lay everything out over here in a way that just makes people move towards you. And that's all of this stuff plays into each other. If you're telling the story correctly, when you get here and you tell people about the epiphany that you had, people will just want to work with you because they've seen that you started where they are and you went to where they want to be, and you're showing them the path, and they know that you are a guide. Remember, they are the star in this story. You are just the guide. The last piece, after all of this is done, you hold the event, and the last piece, I got my colors backwards, you want to turn it evergreen. So you want to film the entire event, and then you want to chop it up and you want to turn it into a course. You want to make a book out of it maybe. You want to turn it into a bunch of blog posts. When you do an event, you should have a minimum of 90 days of content possibly a year's worth, plus a free plus shipping book, plus a course, plus lead magnets. All of that comes from an event, and that's why it's so powerful to hold a small event. A small event is going to cost you less than, I'm going to say $3,000, maybe $4,000, and you're going to get all of this stuff out of it. And at the end of your event, you should be selling a high ticket item, which is something more than $10,000. That means that you are going to profit a huge amount. The lowest amount that anyone that I've worked with has profited has been about $75,000, all the way up to like $170,000. And then a larger event, we did somewhere over $500,000. I don't know the exact numbers on that one. We had a lot at the event, and then we signed up some people after the event, and there was some people moving around in there. But I want to say it was around $680,000. So it is 100% possible to hold a massively profitable live event. If you're interested in how I can work with you, I do have a live beta that's going on. It launches August 12th. Right now there are 10 spots available, and right now we have 4 left. If you want more information, reach out to me. If you have questions on any of this, reach out. I would love to talk to you guys. All right, have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys later.